Welcome once again to another edition of Shelf Life Book Reviews Online. Thank you as always for taking the time to watch my video. Those who've seen the last few know that I'm fighting a sinus infection / cold in my throat. My voice is still not 100%, but it's getting there, so hopefully I can get through this one as I've got through the last video reviews. I'm excited about the book that I'm about to review today. This is by one of my favorite authors, and he's been one of my favorite authors since the 1970s. None other than Stephen King and his latest fairy tale. This is published by Scribner and it retails for $39.99. I can say I've read well over 90% of Stephen King's books. I haven't read every single one, but I've read the majority, the ones that mattered the most in my opinion. And whenever a new Stephen King book comes out, it's cause for celebration because you never know what he's going to do next. He's gone through the gamut of literary genres. He's done it all, and he still has that masterful touch to enthrall readers, no matter what the length of the book is. This book is nearly 600 pages, and some might say, well, that is short by some of his standards, but still, it's 600 pages of magic, mystery, and classic Stephen King. The book revolves around a young boy named Charlie Reed. When he was 7 years old, his mother was killed by a hit-and-run driver. And this caused his father to go into, his own world of self-pity, and he eased his pain through the bottle. So he became a raging alcoholic. And Charlie Reed always said that if his father could recover somehow, that Charlie would basically, dedicate his life to goodness and the world around him. Well, one day, Charlie was walking home, and he heard this person crying for help. He looked over the fence and saw an elderly man, Howard Bowdrich, laying there on the ground. He had been up on a ladder, and he fell, and he'd broken his leg. Now his dog Radar was close to him. So Charlie dialed 911, he got him to the hospital, and it was apparent that he was going to have to stay in the hospital for a while. Now, Charlie liked the dog Radar, a German Shepherd, and so he said he would take care of him while he was in the hospital. Howard was sort of a, miserable old man, but his heart softened toward Charlie, and they became best friends, really. He took care of all of his affairs while he was in the hospital, and he made sure that Radar was taken care of. So he also, Howard did come home, but he also warned Charlie not to go near this shed. And Charlie often wondered, because he could hear sounds inside the shed. It was like a mystery, little mystery universe inside the shed. So eventually, just before Howard died, he phoned Charlie and told him he was about to die. He knew he was dying, and that there was an envelope for him. There were cassettes for him to listen to, and for him to follow things accordingly. So the old house that Howard lived in, it was full of gold. It was full of mystery. It was like a step back in time, but Howard also told Charlie that he had lived many lives. He had been older, he had been younger, and he'd been rejuvenated, and now his time was up. And with the dog Radar, it was a very similar story, that Radar had been around for a long time, and it appeared that Radar may be on his last legs. So after Howard died, Charlie went into the shed. He opened it up, and the first thing he saw was a huge dead cockroach that was still sort of decomposing. And he knew this was, the entranceway to a sort of parallel universe. So with Radar on his last legs, he wanted to go to this almost enchanted city called Empis, Empis. It was like a parallel world. And he knew that if he went to this specific spot where a sundial was, that he could save Charlie and rejuvenate him. But getting there and doing that were two different things. He met a lot of different people. It was a world of good and evil, and this is where the fairy tale comes into being, because he saw people with disfigured faces, people with no mouths, but who could talk. Um, but the most evil person of all was the flight killer. He was like the king of this Empus world. He ruled over his, well, slaves. A lot of them were slaves. And Charlie soon became one of the people who were slaves. And for sport, the flight killer had people fight one another to the death. So well, Charlie knew that he had to, win his match. He did not want to kill his opponent, but he knew if he wanted to ever get out of there, save Radar, and get back to Earth, that he must do the unthinkable. So the book is just filled with so many amazing characters, and anyone who's read a Stephen King book knows that he certainly can write a book filled with magical characters, magical moments. The descriptions are classic Stephen King. I could go on for hours about this book, but I want to keep this review, as concise as possible. Basically letting you know that if you're a Stephen King fan, even if you're not a Stephen King fan and have given up on him years ago and said, well, it's all the same. No, it's not all the same. Fairy Tale is a unique, very unique book, and it might win you back to the Stephen King camp quite effortlessly. So, but as the book continues, and we know that Charlie is going to triumph, and that Radar is going to get a second life again, we can't help cheering for the good guys as Charlie makes it back to Earth and his own world, where good and evil are on his world too. So it's hey, I can't say too much more about it, other than buy this book. It's nearly 600 pages of the best 600 pages that you might have read in quite some time. So hopefully you will add this book to your collection. So now my voice is starting to go, but I think I will say, as always, I welcome your opinions, whether you agree with me or not. Please send me your comments. I hope you will subscribe to all my channels on Facebook and YouTube. Tell your friends about my book reviews, and there'll be lots more to come because I have about 75 books to go through. I got to read them first. But anyways, until we meet again, stay safe, stay sane, stay social distancing, and do stay in touch. And thank you so much again for your time. Bye for now.